so well. Oh, horror, fantasy, the stories we tell. Sci-fi dreams where the stars collapse. Comic books stacked high in gaps. Mike and Tom, they light the flame. The first, the last, the Nerdom name. Voices sharp like the edge of time. Diving deep in a world sublime.
Welcome back to the First, the Last, the Nerdom, the podcast where we dive into the weird, the wonderful, and the wonderfully weird corners of pop culture. And this week, we're back with another installment of our special series we like to call Binge Worthy. Here's the deal. We pick a show, maybe something we've always loved, maybe something we've just curious about, and we watched the first two, or this week we watched 3 episodes to ask the ultimate streaming question: is it binge worthy? Does it hook us enough to keep watching, or does it leave us politely backing away like we've just walked into the wrong shop? And speaking of strange shops, this week we're traveling to the unsettling village of Royston Vasey for a taste of the dark, twisted, and hilarious, grotesque world of The League of Gentlemen. Premiering in 1999, The League of Gentlemen is a sketch comedy series like no other, blending absurdist humor, horror movie vibes, and a small town paranoia into something uniquely British and completely bonkers. It's a place full of nosebleed inducing taxi rides, mysterious butcher shops, and locals who are very clear about this. This is a local shop for local people. We're talking about its offbeat style, its cult legacy, its razor sharp performances, and whether 3 episodes are enough to get us hooked on the surreal, sinister comedy. So grab your map, not that it'll help, mind the plague of toads, and prepare to be deeply uncomfortable. It's time for the League of Gentlemen right here on Binge Worthy, only on the First, the Last, the Nerdom. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Tom.
Uh-oh.
Does not compute. Does not compute. Let me. I'll fix myself here. Momentarily here.
Please
Oh,
don't
sorry
do
about
that, Mike.
Yep.
Oh no, never that, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. While I get myself dialed in here. So this, I love this. And I kind of joke with you, like, what the hell did you get me into, Tom? And the truth is, that you didn't get me into anything that I haven't already been into, or expect. This is kind of like had like a punk, what did I write down in my notes here? Sorry, I'm just reading my notes here. This is like the it had dark comedy, some effects, practical effects. It's very, very, very practical effects. Like Kids in the Hall a little bit. Like there's a little bit of that. There's unhinged commitment in the performances that we get from these actors. And this was thoroughly enjoyable. I did not know this existed. And if anything, it made me so this is yours. I don't know if I should say. I'm gonna keep to my vest what I think this reminded me of, because I think I'm gonna keep it for this series of shows that we're doing, where we watch the first few episodes of a series, and then we you want to keep going, or do you nope out? I gotta say, like, I was like. I'm so glad that I know this exists, because it's also kind of hard to watch, hard to get. But what I got, I'll pay for later on. But I'm gonna keep watching this one. It's the shortcut. It's just so funny. Totally BBC. Totally, how did I put it? I wrote it down. Punk. I said punk. It's like post-punk horror comedy. It's just all darkness and like the absurdity of it. And also, hey, Tom, You're not a local. Get out. And oh, by the way,
Yes.
why are you looking at that poor shopkeep's wife, in a leering and lecherous manner, my friend? Don't do that.
Where's your points? Where's your pointers? No, no, yeah, yeah. I brought this one to the table. Last week I brought The Prisoner, another British show. I
All
went
right, okay.
all Anglophile on my picks for this month. But
Great
I
picks,
thought
by
that
the way, though.
was appropriate, quite appropriate. Yeah, I was always into kind of sketch comedy. My love of sketch comedy wasn't it was kind of peaked with Saturday Night Live. I was kind of it just didn't feel like it was made for me. It felt like when I was a kid and watching it, it felt a little bit more adult, maybe
Right.
something that, that I got a little bit out of, but it just didn't seem to be made for me. And then I saw this show SCTV, which came on very late after Saturday Night Live, and I had a bunch of great people like Martin Short, John Candy, um, uh, Rick Moranis, Eugene Levy, and those guys.
Just perfect.
They
Just perfect.
yeah, they created characters that um were ongoing characters. It was sketch, but they had characters that kept repeating, and if you watched long enough, they almost had kind of like a storyline, kind of a loose based storyline, and I
Right.
love that aspect of that show, and it just kind of made it into kind of a world that I wanted to kind of escape into. And I didn't find anything quite like that. Kids in the Hall was a great one as well. That also was a little bit more darker. It had some darker sketches that I really enjoyed. But and so this League of Gentlemen kind of married the two, sort of like
Right.
the darker aspects of Kids in the Hall, and then sort of like the ongoing characters of SCTV. And it also brings in my love of horror movies. These guys that made the League of Gentlemen, you could tell that they love those old Hammer movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great love of old horror movies, from the camera angles to the characters and how they kind of play these scenes out. Just was wonderful, and I saw this during the early 2000s on IFC channel. I
Okay.
happen to have the IFC channel, and I fell in love with it. I got the DVDs of that, and then I had to move, and those got put into storage. In the past few years I kept wanting to get back to the series, but I didn't want to face going into my storage locker and digging that out of all the DVDs that I have. So and then luckily the BBC came out with a nice Blu-ray of all the series, all the seasons, as us Americans say, and all the specials.
Yeah, hold that pose, Tom. Go ahead.
It look at that. But yeah, so you got that. You got all of your stuff. You got all the wonderful extras and whatnot.
Perfect.
So when I got this, I go, okay, perfect time for us to maybe cover this. And so yeah, wonderful little set. This is you can only get it on right now on the UK Amazon UK. Well, you can get it on other sites, I'm sure, in the UK in America, but if you go to Amazon, you have to go to the UK version. And oddly enough, I get the stuff I order from UK Amazon, I get it quicker than what I get from US Amazon, if that says anything. So but yeah, and it's also, if you want to get this, it is a region B. So it only plays a region B players, so you have to have a special hacked Blu-ray player to do that. You can actually buy those off of Amazon. That's nothing mysterious, but yeah, you have to get a region free Blu-ray player. Which I would recommend if you're Anglophile like me and like a lot of British stuff and want physical media of it. Definitely check that out. But we're kind of glossing over the main event,
Well,
the
I
show
would
League
well
of Gentlemen.
if I could belabor that for
Hmm.
just a moment. Really,
Hmm.
what this is about is okay. So when good grief here.
We did cover Superman
Yeah,
this week as well.
that was on
That's why
Sunday.
I'm wearing my Superman shirt.
Yeah, but this Wednesday, new day, for our binge, which just
Binge
so
worthy,
happens to be,
yeah.
yeah, our binge it just so happens to be our binge British BBC spectacular. But I'm just joking. But the League of Gentlemen, it is perfect. I love it because it reminds me of so many different things. Like you mentioned, SCTV, and that was on, I believe that was on Canadian, or the CBC, I think,
Yeah.
originally.
Well, yeah, and they aired it on NBC after Saturday Night Live on Saturdays.
Right, right, right. But
Yeah.
regardless, kind of coming back to the thing, this has like, it could not have been made. This truly could not have been made today. Today's BBC would never have touched. Shit, even 10 years ago, BBC would not have touched this. But we're lucky that we got this at the turn of the millennium. And I also noticed, and I don't normally notice this, but there's another series in my head that you're not going to know about until after this show, for later on for this bench thing we're doing, that contrasts with this, like, generationally. This is definitely Gen X, humor. Like it's got some quirkiness. It's got some things where you fill in the gaps. Like it does it very well. And I'm just shocked that I had not come across this. But like, when this was back on, and you actually got to see it practically like real time. You say IFC is your thing. TCM is my jam. If I have if I pay for cable TV, or I pay for all the channels. I've kind of been stuck on that for a minute, but this has been great, and it's just it's really fucking funny, and where you think you're gonna laugh, what if we just made up our own our own society, but like I said, kind of throw in that dystopian kind of, you just no right answer,
Yeah.
like,
So, and so just in case people are watching this that aren't familiar with the show, definitely check it out. I know it's on BritBox, but we as well if you want to stream it. But this show basically it's about the small town in Britain, and all those crazy stories you hear about the small little weird towns in the UK.
local people
This kind of
only.
invest, yeah, local people. There's not like a main road that goes to this town. That's the big thing about this first series is that they're finally getting this road into town, so there'll be you'll be able to get to it a lot easier, and maybe they'll get more traffic from the outside world. It's kind of like the self-contained little community, and the show's about all the different little characters in this. Like the guy who runs the butcher shop. There's a job center with this lady trying to train people to get a job that are on the dole. You have a local shop owners that are a little weird, maybe. But yeah, you get to get a glimpse at all these different people in this community, and they all have a certain quirk or weirdness about it. Now your kind of point of view kind of starts off this show.
Right.
I love the beginning of this show. You have you hear this voiceover and this older lady speaking, and you're used to in shows where someone's reading a letter, you hear the maybe the voice of the person that wrote the letter, and so you kind of pan to this guy that's holding this letter. You hear this older lady speaking. It's maybe his aunt,
Do you
grandmother, or
mind?
something. He looks over, and it pans over, and it's this older lady reading it over his shoulder.
Right.
That gag is so funny to me. It
It
gets
is.
me every time. I've seen it a million times at this point.
I
It slays me every time.
I gotta tell you, I love that I came in so blind to this because like when I saw that, I was cackling. I mean, I was like dying. I was
Because
dying,
it comes out of left field.
and I screwed
It's
it.
just-
I screwed it up. I totally I screwed it up because it's not. Do you mind? It's like, do you mind? This old lady, and she's over the shoulder. Like
just reading out
which is
loud.
which is such a natural touch point when you're on public transportation, because if you're reading something on your phone or your book or whatever, you're like, a paranoid part of you is always being, is somebody watching me? Somebody, like,
Yep.
but it just gets weirder, and I love this. I love the weird. I love the eccentricness, and and then you go in, and we might not be able to say everything therein, but like you just go into that to to the taxi driver. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Not quite PC, but it's
Right.
hilarious. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more oversharing than maybe Barbara should be giving, but in her taxi rides. But yeah, all the and all of the characters work. Almost like they've lived in these characters and they're fully formed. A lot of times when you watch the first season of something or first series of something,
Right.
they're still filling their oats, they're still filling out the characters, they're not quite fully formed, but they feel fully formed in the series, and that's not by accident or coincidence. They've been kind of working as a team, and they've done radio shows with these characters, they've done stage on stage with these characters, and from the I think the stage or the radio stuff, they were offered the TV series to do it as a series. So these characters they've kind of lived with for a while, and so yeah, that's why they feel so so lived in, because they have kind of in that's to the benefit of the show, because they're confident in these characters, they know what works and what doesn't work in these characters, and so that you don't have like a lot of times with sketch comedy, one sketch works and maybe the next one doesn't quite work, whereas you got banger after banger with this one.
Well,
Even like the sight gags in the the introduction,
right.
sort of the theme song that's playing, you get these really funny little stingers in the
Well,
beginning as well.
and it technically is a sketch comedy show, but the way that they cut it together, you kind of take it as like a procedural or a BBC.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously we're Americans, so like but you if you were a normal British person, you would kind of take this in and kind of see it as like one thing. It's just such a unique way to put a comedy, because after like a few sketches, you're like, wait a second, this this is not like SVU or a standard format show, but they just keep machine gunning these skits one after the other, and you can't help but laugh. I mean, maybe the first one that's not for you or whatever, but by the time you get to the fifth set, you're just like,
Yeah.
Jesus
By
Christ, what am I into?
yeah, by the end of the episode, you know what this is about. And I don't have any boomer juice, but I do have this new thing I'm into, 7 Up Zero Sugar Tropical.
Right.
It has a really good taste, I have to say. For I don't really like sugar-free stuff, but this is a banger. I have to recommend that. Another people that I've watch online, they were talking about this, so I had to try it, and not a sponsor unless 7 Up wants to, but
Well,
hey, I thought I'd give a shout out to that while
well,
I take a sip of it.
if anybody could do justice to Spot, and all those that famous video game and the commercials that came in, it would be us. So we will not say
Absolutely.
no to your money, and we will cheerfully chug your drink and enjoy it. Actually, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try that. I'm gonna have to put that on my list to try,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
when you're
it's
old,
definitely good.
well, when you're old, like us. You like to get little bits of heaven, sunshine.
Yeah, and much like the prisoner, to loop back,
Yeah,
that kind of centralized this little small town that actually exists. The League of Gentlemen, it's the made up town of Royston Vasey, but it's filmed in this actual little town. I think it's called Hatfield. And yeah, that's as much a character as all the other characters. You really have to find a place that had a kind of soaked in that kind of UK small kind of village kind of vibe.
right.
And this that location with the little statue at the center of it really kind of gives a little bit more character to the show than it would have had if they just randomly picked a town in the UK.
No, I agree. It and again, it drags you along. At first, you're like, "What the fuck?" You're like, and then you kind of get used to the beat of it. And there's just so many different aspects of shows that like I've seen that you've seen. Like we mentioned,
Mhm,
Kids in the Hall. I'll even go
mhm,
one further and to this actually reminded me. And the sci-fi is not apparent, okay? Like
mhm,
and it's not like if you come through and you're a space nerd, you're not going to get this
mhm,
right away. But like then you see the ridiculousness of the world that they're in and the world building that goes on.
mhm,
It does it did remind me a little bit of just different salami slices of other shows like Eureka on Sci-Fi Channel that we kind of
mhm,
talked about on the margins. But
mhm,
that came much later in 2006, and Kids in the
mhm,
Hall came in '98.
mhm,
This came in '99, so really it was his own thing. But I
mhm.
say again, this kind of goes back to The Prisoner because I was like, it reminded me of Lost, and you're like, yeah, but that was in the
Much like,
so
yeah,
it
no, yeah,
really is relative, but no, this worked out very well, and it has a collective fish out of water kind of
mhm,
film view that you enter this
mhm,
village in, and you get to know
mhm,
local shop for
mhm,
local people. It
yep,
should even
mhm,
well, probably nowadays it would probably be considered very edgy and more
mhm,
Portlandia,
mhm.
I guess. Like maybe this would be the British Portlandia. That would be
Yeah,
super hard to translate for what the hell does that mean? Well, have you ever been to
mhm.
Portland? Or Seattle?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and the guys behind it, you have three main actors that are in this show. You got Mark Gatiss, you have Reece Shearsmith, and Steve Pemberton. Those are the main actors and writers and
right,
co-creators of the series. And then there's one guy that's just the writer. He's in maybe you see him maybe in a cameo here or there, but Jeremy Dyson also is one of the main writers on it. And so yeah, Dyson, yeah, and they've all kind of gone on to do other things, which we'll cover maybe towards the end here. But they're like the three main guys, and they play almost all the characters in the show.
right.
So they all play men and women in this, and they do a wonderful job. Maybe we could get into a little bit of the characters, and maybe talk about our favorites. We're introduced first to Benjamin, who's sort of the guy coming to visit his aunt and uncle. He's staying because he's meeting a friend, and they've invited him to stay at their home. So we're kind of looking at this town through his eyes. We're kind of gasp as he is about the strangeness of what's going on. And I I really I really love the aunt and uncle. It's and Jeremy in the commentary says that it's sort of based on a lot of these sketches are oddly enough based on real events and real things that have happened to these people. Jeremy said that he did stay at aunt and uncle's at one point, and they said, "Oh." be at home, do what you do at home, take it easy. And then immediately they started going in on all the rules that they had, and they had all these extreme rules and whatnot. And that's what we get in the introduction to this. The aunt and uncle, and what I like is that it's very relatable. Who hasn't, stayed at a place, stayed at a friend's or a relative's where they say, oh, take it easy, my house is your house, be at home. And then you see all these idio these little things that they do, that and rules that they have that just kind of throw you off, and like, okay, what's going on here?
Well, right. Well, excuse me. Well, the
Mhm.
aunt and uncle, right? Like you can't help but notice like where he's like, fine, you know, like I was
Okay.
gonna say, right. I really enjoyed the Pauline Campbell Jones,
Mhm.
um, you know, uh,
Pauline, Ross, and
right,
Mickey, that
right,
whole dynamic. Because
right. Yeah,
when haven't you been in a situation where the person in charge, maybe at work or at a meeting or something, where this overbearing person who doesn't have control of maybe his or her outside life, in this little realm they become a dictator and can have this total control over these people, and who hasn't ever experienced that? And so you actually, all these sketches really invest your experience in with what they're portraying, because who hasn't had that experience?
well, I'm
Yeah.
getting a pen, like it's a death
Yeah, a
threat,
pen. My pen, yeah.
Well, you covered it beautifully. Like you basically
Mhm.
covered my notes. Like who hasn't been there with this
Yeah.
passive aggressive bureaucrat that has your number, and if you don't play ball, well, it's not going to be good for you. But
Yeah, and that whole, and they do a wonderful job. A lot of times in sketch comedy, it's the acting, it's the performance that's the focus. But they were very much aware that they were filming that. They weren't on stage. They wanted to have attention to detail, and they got a director that would be in charge and really paint the
right,
landscape, so that the visual element of a TV series added that extra layer. Like with Pauline, that wig that Steve wears,
I
it kind
just
of hooks
love
out into
that.
horns, or that just is perfect. And then that job center room that they're in, that smoke filled room, because the guys are smoking, that are on the dole. And then that you might miss, but I've seen it so many times. You see this little ornament, this Christmas ornament that's there from maybe a past office Christmas party from years gone by, and it's just that sad kind of reminder of what was and what is now,
Yeah, well, Steve Pemberton, like you were saying, like he does a perfect job, and to the point to like where okay, this goes back to the Kids in the Hall thing to me as my reference point anyway. You get so used to their acting that you take them as this ridiculous character, when she's the hair that she eats, the way she eats like during the just everything's is to establish like I am boss, I am the man. Like it
Yeah,
really does kind
absolutely.
of give you shivers of institutional cruelty.
Yeah, and Pauline's used to uh these guys that don't really want a job, that are kind of being forced
Incompetent.
to
Wow. Right.
be
Village
there because
idiots
they,
is
yeah.
essentially what it is. Yeah.
Right. So Ross is there as sort of her antagonist, this guy that's a little bit smarter than her average customer there, and so he plays off of it, and he doesn't fall for her tricks. He can see it a mile away. So there's this kind of struggle, and Mickey's their sort of foil that's there, that gets bounced back and forth between the two. And there's a struggle, and to start off, you're sympathetic to Ross and his situation,
Hmm.
and the way Pauline treats Mickey. she's sort of portrayed as the villain, but as the episodes go on, there's this interesting dynamic where Ross kind of becomes this sort of the villain at certain points, and Pauline, you start getting kind of sympathetic to her by the things that she reveals about herself, that her outside life is maybe in shatters, and this is the only place that she feels in control. That's just kind of the beauty of these sketches, kind of playing out this longer story. Now it's a loose story, it's
Right.
not a real tight story, but
Right.
the story nonetheless that you're invested in, and you're
Well,
like, oh, I need to see the next episode to see where this goes.
well, that's why it's I don't know that you would call, We Live in the Shadows a sketch comedy show, but it's kind of not far off from that for this movie, like from
Yeah.
just,
Mhm.
things we've both seen together. But that story, again, it's not like you're, here's the sketch, here, and then there's a break between acts that No.
Mhm.
There's a whole storyline going here, and you got to pay attention. And you asked me favorites,
Mhm.
Lazarel, Papa, yeah, like where, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I shouldn't say this, but I did go on to watch like 4 and 5 and 6, so
Okay,
so
finish out the
so we're
series one. Yeah.
this is a little bit more beyond the
Mhm.
barometer of the show or whatever, but like
Mhm.
I couldn't help it because like he's kind of like the vampire, he just pops in and pops out, it's
Yep.
just like
Yep.
that
Yep.
but you know
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about this. The first 3 episodes, they don't show all the people in
no
the
they don't
village. You
no they don't
you're not there yet. So yeah, you do have some surprises, like with Papa. Yeah, he's one of my favorites as well. I didn't realize you'd gotten
Yeah,
that far, but
sorry,
yeah.
sorry. I should have
Wonderful.
said that,
Yeah.
but well,
Yeah, no,
that's
that's fine.
that's the great part about that thing. But anyway, going back to him, even when he shows up, these fucking weirdo off the wall characters are like, what the fuck, like there's just like they're that's a little bit overreactive, but they're confused. It's just as much as you,
Mhm.
like like as the thing. I don't want to say too much, anything of that, but like,
Yep. Yep.
like I also did notice that some of the characters, depending upon who you pick, they represent kind of different fears. Like
Mhm.
kind of when you get dialed in. And but anyway,
Mhm.
that's I
Mhm.
suspect that's what's going on. Like I that's what I kind of get. But that's being a little bit too analytic.
Yeah,
Like
but yeah, I love yeah, so one a set of the characters I really enjoy, although they're kind of one note, but I love them nonetheless. There's the 2 guys, the metalhead guys that are in the video shop, and they're
right,
looking at the movies. They go, how many kills does that have? But how many kills, guy? I'm not really into Bradley Pitt. Too much acting. Their sort of commentary on movies is excellent, but
right.
them going over the kills in Seven,
Well, and
Greed, me, Sleepy, Dopey.
what and it kind of pull back to
Mhm,
you asked a favorite,
mhm.
Tubbs and Edward. That's
Yep,
just
Tubbs and Edward. Yep, the local shop.
right, the local
Absolutely.
shop for like, but it's they're a little bit more a little bit more
There's
creepy
something
than that,
else
but
going on. Absolutely, yeah. And I do love the doctor who the veterinarian. I'm sorry, the veterinarian who every animal that's in his care finds a demise.
like yeah, they come in standard
Uh-huh.
British. I'm gonna run the
Mhm.
thing, but he comes in. It's, episode 2 is what it is, and he comes in and he's like, "All right, well, you had a good life, girl," and then all of a sudden, like a moment later, like, "Oh, here's the like."
Yeah, yeah. He comes over to put one of the guy's dogs to sleep, and he immediately thinks, "Oh, it's this one."
Right,
Because the guy goes, I'll be right back," and later he comes in with the actual dog with the giant tumor on it.
right.
Ooh, no.
Yeah, no,
You
I
might want to sit down for the news. Yeah, I've got some bad news for you.
yeah, yeah, and the prisoner I think was a little bit harder for me to get into, like compared like last week, but like after like again
Mhm.
10 minutes, you're kind of hooked. If
Yeah.
you like any kind of James Bond
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
whatever, you stick with it, and then you have like that thing. But this was
Mhm.
like was just so much easier to like you
Mhm.
like
You immediately you either get the humor or you don't. Or it has to kind of you have to you have to be receptive to it.
right.
If you're not receptive to this type of humor, then it's not going to be for you. So if you watch the first episode and hate it, you're not going to get it. It's not going to get any better.
Right.
It's not going to change any.
No, but
It's just going to build more and more.
No, but if you are a fan of the any British kind of comedy,
Yeah, the
you kind
British
of
humor. Yeah.
you're going to be fine. You're if it
Yeah.
strikes your funny bone, you're gonna you if you think the British Office
Mhm.
is better than the American Office, you're gonna love this for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
But like it is
And then
also offbeat.
there's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why there's not a U.S. version of this show, though. I will say that.
And why is that, Tom?
It just probably wouldn't hit. I don't see this translating well. And in fact, BBC has various channels. They have their main one, and then
Right.
this is on one of their
BBC.
off channel. Yeah, one of
Right.
the channels that are more receptive to more interesting things, so to speak. So so this is like I said, it's a bit of acquired taste, but if it hits your funny bone, it's gonna hit it hard.
No, it's
That's
perfect.
what I'll
Uh,
say.
this was fun for me to experience and did we cover everything, or did you want to
Oh,
circle back?
I think a couple of things. Now this, if you're interested in the series, again, we may loop back to one of these. I think we're thinking maybe the most popular one of these, maybe kind of do a follow up on, or if you want to follow up on all of them, we can maybe, whatever we decide to follow up
Well,
on. But
go ahead, go ahead.
oh, but yeah, this is instead of seasons, they call them series in the UK. So you have series one, series two. Those two series are pretty much you see the first series, the series two is much of the same. Series three is interesting. It may be my favorite season. What it does is it kind of steps away from sketch comedy, and each of the 6 episodes focuses on one set of characters. So you'll have a whole episode where it focuses on Pauline, Ross, and Mickey. So you get a whole thing. It's almost like a little mini movie about these characters. So it's a little bit different. So be prepared for that if you want to see through the whole thing. So yeah, so that's 18 episodes, not a big chunk.
Right.
But they also did a League of Gentlemen movie called League of Gentlemen Apocalypse, which is
I had to
good,
stay away from
good.
that because like I got too excited, but go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. And then they have some they have a Christmas episode as well within those first 3 series, which is excellent. But also they've come back and done like anniversary episodes.
Okay.
I think 3 or 4. Because that's why it says it goes to 2017. So they came back. I was so very happy when they came back to these characters in 2017. Very enjoyable. There is some DVDs of them performing these characters live on stage, which
Oh
is very
wow.
enjoyable. If you want to track those down, they're out there as well. But there's a plethora of things. So if you enjoy those 3 main series, there's more to discover with the League of Gentlemen. And also, if you love these creators and want to find more, Reece, Shearsmith, and Steve Pemberton went on to do another series called Psychoville,
Hmm.
which is a cast of whole different characters, much like in League of Gentlemen. And that series is great too. I think there's 2, maybe 3 series of that. I love that. And then just most recently, they did a series called uh, Inside Number Nine, and the concept of that show was, um, it all takes place in, say, like a apartment, a number nine apartment,
Mm,
this a place with the number nine on it. That's sort of like the thing, and so each episode is about this one kind of almost like a play. People have compared it to Black Mirror, sort of anthology series, British anthology series, with kind of weird, quirky. A lot of it's kind of horror focused.
right.
Some of it's comedy. Some of it's just this wonderful drama dynamic of two characters going through something. Just a wonderful series. There's 10 seasons or 10 series of it.
Oh,
They
wow.
just recently wrapped up the last series of it.
No kidding.
Wonderful. So that's those two guys. Mark Gatiss has gone on to do a lot of stuff in
Hmm.
sci-fi and fantasy. He was a co-creator and writer on Sherlock, that Sherlock Holmes series, that everybody loved back then. But he's done a lot of stuff in that vein, and he's kind of come back and been on some one of the episodes of Psychoville, and has been in on, I believe, Inside Number Nine as well.
Right on.
And then Jeremy Dyson, not to shortchange him, he's written some short stories. He's had some collections of books out. And he also has done a movie, kind of an anthology movie called Ghost Stories, which I hope we'll cover in the future, as maybe kind of like a
Well,
Christmas horror thing. But
I think that there's more than enough material that you just covered for us to cover us well into 2026. To be honest with you, and I
yeah,
say
so
that in a
there's
good. Well, no, I say that in a good
go ahead.
way.
Hmm.
Like so often through you, I find these new fucking
Hmm.
things that I've never seen
Hmm.
before, and that make me a believer. So yeah, a
Hmm.
man can fly. It is.
Man can fly, yes, absolutely. But
um,
yeah, there's a wealth. So if you do love if you watch this and love it, there's a lot of stuff that you are in for that's quite enjoyable. But yeah, yeah, I highly recommend this. I'm always recommending it. I get some odd looks when I bring up League of Gentlemen. They go, "Oh yeah, that movie with Sean Connery. I didn't really like it." Like, yeah, no, that's no, I didn't like it either. But that's not
no,
this.
not the one. Not the one. Not the one.
That's not no, that's not the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I wish more people would take me up on this. So that's one of the reasons I did this, to introduce you guys to this. I'm also in a kind of a group that loves these guys on Facebook. I'm not sure if I'll promote this on there because they can be kind of British and snarky. So, but yeah, and they're already fans of this. So, but yeah, hopefully this kind of introduces this to our audience that may be not familiar with this. And yeah, if it sounds like something you might be interested, definitely check it out. I know, like Mike says, it's maybe a little harder on this side of the pond to see it,
I
but yeah, it's well worth tracking down.
I would even say if you zero out the BBC British comedy Monty Python, let's just say that you were fresh and innocent, and you came in this world, but you had been exposed to Rick and Morty or Adult Swim. You
Hmm.
you're gonna be good. Really,
Yeah,
really, truly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like if you stuck around for anything on Adult Swim over, like, let's say, a period of years, or you discovered them backwards because we're old, and
Mhm.
we watched these kind of things on network TV when it happened, in real time. You are,
Mhm.
god damn it, you're going to be in for a really good treat. And I'll just say this: I really don't care if the audience loved this one or not for our show. I hope you do. I really do. And we thank you
Mhm.
again for liking, commenting, and subscribing. But I will tell you this: we're probably going to be back to do something more with this,
Mhm.
or derivatives therein, because
Mhm.
this tapped into a thing that is just awesome. It's a core. It's almost like a core thing of, like, humor and what you like to laugh at.
Mhm.
That fits so well. Thing, like, I'm the only thing that I'm shocked by. I did not, and again, your world experience is what it is. You have
Mhm.
yours, I have mine. people out there have theirs.
Mhm.
If you, I'm sure they're out there, but I'm surprised that I have not. There's just so much material you could
Mhm.
draw from for like memes. Like I'm
Mhm.
the only
Mhm.
disappointment that I have is that I have not ran into, and I'm sure they're out there. But
Mhm.
um, holy shit! but
Yeah.
you, but it's
Mhm.
just so perfect. Like
Mhm.
it's a classic. Like you can't like have
Mhm.
this. It's like putting on your belt.
Mhm.
You gotta. It's just so good. So again, I am the beneficiary of Tom's like awesome thing who's converted me over to horror, and well,
Mhm.
this was an easy win. And you
Mhm.
probably actually talked about this before, but like I just was oblivious to it. But I'm glad
Right.
that we
Yeah.
got to cover it in year 4 of the first
Mhm.
last nerdom, because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is
You
binge worthy
you
for sure,
definitely.
for fucking sure.
Yeah. You do really have to, as much as we talk about it and explain it, you really have to experience it to completely understand what's going on with it. And I like your comparison to Adult Swim, but whereas Adult Swim sort of weird for weird's sake, there is like a rhyme and reason to the
Right, there
weirdness
is.
of
There is a
Being a
storyline to
gentleman.
this too, by the way. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it does have a internal logic to it, that is self-contained, and that's what I love about this, is because it's a world that you could step into, that you could really really you can almost see this happening. Maybe this is taking it to the nth degree, but there's germs of reality within this, that weird kind of they have a really keen eye of seeing the weird stuff.
well,
And in fact,
that
the
I think.
the Mhm.
Well, if we could pause there for a moment,
Sure.
there's the humor part, right? But
Uh-huh.
there's also that horror part that like you that does draw you in, and you
Mhm.
can't help but think like, whoa, what? I mean, this is ridiculous. But like, to be honest with you, this also has a half dozen starts to it, half dozen different horror movies too. To be
Yeah.
frank, I mean, it's a little
Mhm.
bit more abstract than that. What I'm saying, but
Mhm.
but you can't help but put yourself in like going to this strange shop and they don't want my money. What? And
Yeah.
then you go from there.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Sorry,
I was
sorry.
gonna say, no worries. Yeah, that's a good point. But also, Tubbs is based off of a real person. They actually I think all three or all four of them had stepped into a shop, and this lady that was running the shop was almost frightened by them, and it was kind of a people were in her shop, and and they think that at one point she said, my husband is upstairs." But yeah, they took this odd little woman that was just totally frightened by these people walking into her shop to actually shop, that kind of inspired this character that just kind of become larger than life. And they do wear, and they're all sort of horror fans, and they all wear their uh their inspirations on their sleeves, especially. And so you don't usually see that with comedy, to have that horror influence,
So
but
close together
it
the way
just
they do
works
it.
because horror and comedy, yeah, are very similar, when you think about it. It relies on very precise timing, and hitting either the scare or the joke just right, because if you don't land it, it falls flat and does not work. The movie or the comedy doesn't work. There's like a kind of almost a balancing act you have to play there. And also, the aunt and uncle's house, when they were talking to the design people, they wanted it to be inspired from, say, The Shining. They wanted the Shining vibes to be played out with this
I
this
mean,
location. And you
I mean, I didn't get that. I'm gonna be honest, but
uh-huh,
but
uh-huh.
looking in my mind's eye, like, yeah, okay, box checked.
Yeah, I that gross green wallpaper.
Right. That's what I was
uh,
thinking of. Right. Right. Right.
yeah, and
Which is
they found that. Mhm.
our synergy
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah, synergy, and yeah, exactly, and and they found that the guy who was one of the production guys went to this place that had all their wallpaper was old from the 70s, and he wanted to buy out her whole stock. because it was so weird and wonderful. And she goes, but I wouldn't have anything to sell. She buy me out. They would have had bought her out and paid good money for it, but and then restocked her with newer stuff that she didn't really want to sell. But they got that wonderful wallpaper. But
Yes, they did.
there's right now, the more I think about it, the aunt and uncle are pretty entertaining because there's a scene in the bathroom. We won't go into that. And then there's the scene in the living room where they have alternate methods of refreshment that just plays out. Again, I don't think that would play out in a U.S. show
No,
unless it's say on FX maybe.
no, you're right, because like they do, like if you really, I mean, you have to have known this to watch it. And like even the first time they have tea, he's bringing out the chess clock, like what the fuck. And they don't even spend time on it. I love, like, that's the thing, like where I get like this is going to be a longer form thing for us for sure. Like I'm just going to say that now. Like like this, there's just such goodness there. But yeah, I could gush and go on, and I am not. I can't do this anymore justice because I've only gone to, and I cheated rear, but I went to 6. Well, like but there's, well, you talk about it though, and there's only fucking 10 left, really. I mean, from my point of view, before I would let the new in, I would be like, hey, Tom, is this really something I want to watch? And you say yes or no. But there you are. The Prisoner was good. But if you binge something and you are any kind of adjacent to even Monty Python, like I know that if I give this to my dad would probably like watch the first episode and be like, what the fuck did I watch? And then I know he'd come back for 2 and 3 and 4. He would not stop. But this in my category, this is binge worthy for sure.
Yep. We'll stamp it with a binge worthy approval.
Yeah.
And this has been I've been a long fan of this, and I have to say, watching it after several years of not watching it, just as fresh, just as funny. Loved it. Like I said, I've seen this series over and over. Just just wonderful stuff. And like I said, it's the thing that keeps on giving these creators. You could follow up on their stuff that they've done since then, and it's just as good, if not better. There's certain episodes of Inside Number 9 that really moved me in ways that a lot of stuff hasn't. And then but it also circles back to the comedy of this. This is just sort of them being very funny, and they do that extremely well. But you wouldn't imagine that they could go to the depths of drama and emotion that they do in Inside Number 9. But that's just how these guys have grown as actors and writers, that they could get to that point. They're not just messing around. They're growing and writing and doing things that are amazing. And I just look forward to the stuff that they come out with, after this. And also, you'll see them sprout up in various different British shows as well. So, I mean, if you love these guys, there's a lot of stuff out there with them in it. But yeah, I do have to circle it back and ask Mike a very important question.
Sure.
Mau Mau or death? Absolutely.
Tom, death.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to be very clear on that. I don't want any of these fuckers by my body. Yeah. Well, I think we've rolled up to the end cap here.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I am very excited because we have a Christmas show that we got to cover later. But we got to make some connective tissue to that. So I look forward to this. But this
Hmm.
is I came out of the blue. I think I'm an average normie when it comes to British humor or whatever.
Hmm.
I liked it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you
Hmm.
don't like it. I mean, maybe I could see if you got a lower quality version of it or whatever. But
Hmm.
it's worth paying for, at least for
Hmm.
three episodes. Like what's that? Like
Hmm.
$10 maybe, if that. Like
Hmm.
overestimating, but
Yep.
I'm there for it. And
Hmm.
I've been any last thoughts, Tom?
No, yeah, since you're so happy with this, and
I'm very
it's
happy
sort of
with
like a,
this, by the
yeah,
way. Yeah.
I think we're kind of deciding that maybe we'll do follow-up episodes, maybe
Yep.
maybe a one in a month, or a certain amount of time we'll cover maybe the rest of the season and season two, and then have another episode for series
What?
three, and so on. But yeah.
Yeah, and again, and there's nothing wrong with the prisoner or the next one
Hmm.
we do or whatever. Like those are great,
Hmm.
But this
Hmm.
one is just this is like one of those ones that, like, where, like, when you first introduced me to giallos, it was like
Yep.
I'm hooked.
Like,
I'm hooked.
yeah, this everything kind of opened up for you, right?
Fuck yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's just kind of like discovering, like, I knew my if it were my body, I found my right arm for this British thing, my left leg for this one, my right leg for the. Where's my left arm? Oh, I found it right here.
Yeah.
It's just perfect, perfect. But yeah,
That
no,
that thing that you really needed, that you didn't know you needed in your
no,
life.
absolutely, absolutely. No, this was a joy. And I've been Mel.
Yeah, I'm Tom, and this is a local shop for local people. This is a local podcast for local podcasters.